impact. Okay. The last message that I have here overall is, I feel like, new beginnings are happening for you, and it's going to happen from now until the next 4 months. So we are in June right now. So I do feel that, by October, everything will be solidified by the time of Libra, like the next air sign. I feel like everything will be solidified. Everything will be set in stone. And so the ideas that you run with for this month is going to be very important. And so they're saying, endings are being left, things have come to an end, and new waves of energies are coming through for you guys for this month, permeating into the next 4 months. So what you do is really, really important. So that means, grabbing life by the horns a little bit. Don't straddle the fence too much. Don't hesitate too much. Just run with an idea and see how it's going to pan out for you. Okay. So let me just talk about the energies coming through from this spread and for this month. So going back to what I mentioned earlier about tradition and order. Okay. This is a card about methodically doing what has been tried and true in the past. If it's not broken, don't fix it. And I feel like a lot of you have this type of a mentality where you believe in, the walking in the footsteps of your ancestors, walking in the footsteps of the people before you. They're saying like building, like standing upon the shoulders of giants, which basically means that there's a lot to work with. Existing rules, regulations, and things like that have been put into place. They've been tried and tested, and they're there for a reason. However, a lot of the times, things are very slow moving and people are very resistant to change. And so in the face of this massive sweeping change that's happening for you, it can go one of two ways. We can be really, afraid and kind of like immobilized by fear when it comes to new changes. And that forces us to cling even tighter to what we know is tried and true. And then on the opposite end of that is we can embrace the change by being a lot more open, a lot more flexible, and a lot more receptive to the new energies that are trying to come through. So I feel like some of you might be holding on to these things. And I feel that further down the line, you might be dealing with some disappointment, mainly because you weren't on the forefront of that wave of change, or you try to hang on to, tradition, order, and things that you're used to. And so they're really urging you to move ahead, okay? And they're urging you that changes are not always bad, especially if it has been well thought out, if it has been, tried and tested in a smaller scale. So I feel that this is a big month for you to release these things that are not working, outdated beliefs, outdated system, outdated, like archaic, patterns of doing, in order to be able to embrace something new. And I do feel it is bringing up a little bit of anxiety in you, but I do sense that, because of these past few years that you have endured, and I feel like the past few years, the past 3 years, for example, there has been a lot of sweeping changes happening in your life. You might have, planned for one thing, for one course of action, and you might have been like, oh, it's going to come out exactly like this. But along the way, the past 3 years, many of you have taken many unexpected detours. You have also seen a lot of, some resistance as well as some setbacks in your plans and your ideas. Things that you thought were going to lead you down this other path that's tried and true and safe might have led you down, might have opened up new opportunities for you. So I feel like there has been a lot of just deviations from the main plan. There has been a lot of surprises and unexpected events. The energy is continuing. And so I feel like some of you have that, wisdom, that insight, that no matter what I plan, or no matter how sure I am of a specific outcome, I need a contingency plan just in case. So you're being a lot smarter about it, and you're being a lot more open and receptive overall to, changes. Okay. So I feel like overall that is a good thing, but I do see a small segment of Scorpios that are still retrenchment. Okay. Like the message is like, you're still dealing with retrenchment. You're still dealing with stagnation. And I feel that, out of your own sheer stubbornness, you might not want to change, and change is coming. So, ease up a little bit and try to let things go and try to embrace new things. They're not always bad, but I feel that it has created some anxieties in you. But I do sense deep down, intuitively, intuitively, I feel that you know what needs to be done, but just on you're not somebody that falls to social pressure, but I feel like just on a practical level, you're not ready. Okay. So I feel like intuitively, you know, it's the right thing to do, but just it's going to take some time for you, for the rest of you to catch up to that point where you're going to be a lot more ready and receptive to these sweeping changes. So what we have here, this card basically denotes, you know, very, very strong intuition. Okay. Intuition, whether or not we have what it takes to start a business. This is a card here about, you know, having a lot of financial resources where you can start to give back to your community, where you can start to give back to other people. So I feel that you have some hangups here about major new economic endeavor, like a new professional endeavor, a new job, a new major endeavor. And you're not really sure whether or not you have the experience for sure. And I know that with a lot of you Scorpios, you don't really, you know, brag about things. So unless you have the skills and the life experience to back up something, you're always going to be a little bit uncertain, right? So at this junction that you're in right now, I do feel that you're not really sure whether or not you have the financial abundance in order to do something, or you're not really sure if you were to take this course of action, are you going to have enough financial abundance to sustain yourself? So I do feel that while ideas are coming through, you know, there's a lot of new things bubbling and brewing. A little bit of preliminary research is going to be required for you. So this means doing a little bit more of a skills upgrade, doing a little bit more kind of like having to reach out to the public a little bit more. That's going to put you on center stage. Having to create an environment where people are going to believe what you have to sell, your products, your ideas. So I do feel that a little bit of showmanship and a little bit more of a sales pitch is required for you. And I feel like that's an area that makes you a little bit uncomfortable. Okay. You don't want to have to like convince people what you're capable of. But I do feel in this context, and especially for this month, going into the next 4 months might be required. Okay. So one of the things that is coming through, and they want you to be a little bit careful about here, is this is money coming through from a financial institution. So if you are, for whatever reason, starting to undertake something, so like a major endeavor, and you need buy-in, so you need to take out a loan, you need to take out, you know, like huge amount of money, you need financiers to back you up with something, for example. Don't take out more than you can afford to pay back, because I feel like this loose energy, a lot of things happening, and you're just like, why don't I do both of these projects at the same time? And you to end up taking out a huge loan. They're saying, you know, small steps. Okay. They're saying like to, guard against taking out something when your collateral, you know, the collateral might be taken away from you, or you're, over exceeding, like you're exceeding the amount of credit that, you're not able to pay it back. So just be very, very careful about money coming through from like financial institutions, money coming through from lenders, financiers, etc. Okay, so there has to be a system, a very strict system of accountability when it comes to, you know, who's giving who money, where is it going, and are things itemized and transparent enough so that the people understand where their money is being used. Okay, so I feel like that's a major problem here. I feel honestly, a lot of you are poised to be in a position of power. So like, working alongside, but also managing and having a lot of control over other people. So you have like a huge amount of influence over other people. You might be a teacher where you're shaping young minds. You might be in a position where, you know, you're in the public space like a politician. You might also be a professor. You might also be like a community project coordinator, a business owner, for example. So I feel a lot of power that you're wielding, but I feel as well, you are doing it very responsibly because you don't want to, you want to do the right thing. So there are opportunities as well. If you are in that position of prominence, there will be people coming through, soliciting you, and they're kind of telling you, here are all the ideas that I have. And I feel like most of them, they have solid ideas. They have clear agendas, altruistic like motives and projects that they want to do that have, that will yield a really good result for everybody involved. But I do feel that because of the constraints of the environment that you're working in, you might not go ahead with all of these, progressive or different or even innovative ideas, because there is a fear of failure here. So I feel that it would be in your best interest to see what ideas are being presented and how you can, tweak it based on your skills and your expertise. Because I feel like somebody's coming to you. They might have like the preliminary framework, but they have not worked out all the kinks yet. And they're coming to you like, this is what I have. Can you help me with that? And I feel like you're doing this to in multiple settings, to multiple people. And they're coming to you mainly because they want you to, be that sounding board and to help them pass that common sense test. Okay. So that's what I feel happening for you for this month. There's a lot of, it's like making connections with a lot of other people. There's also dealing with the concept about dealing with people who are deeply, deeply ingrained and stubborn and just, who are unwilling to change their ways, who wield a lot of power, but they do want to hoard power. And they might also be a little bit more, they're very resistant to change. And then on the other hand, you're also, pulled in the other direction, dealing with people who are young, idealistic with a lot of ideas, but they need to, they need your insights. They need your input to how to shape and shift their ideas so that things are working out well. So either way, you wield a lot of power for this month, Scorpio, and what you say, what you do has a lot of influence in your professional work environment. So speaking, I feel like from the heart, based on your intuition, if you believe that something's not going to pan out, maybe, saying it as such, or if you believe something is outdated, these rules are no longer applicable, there is a lot of hindrance or whatever it is you believe in. If you feel something's not working, I feel that, don't be afraid to advocate for it and to really stick up for the things that you really believe in, because I feel there's an element here about, being a conformist when you feel that the rules and regulations in place are not really effective. Okay. So overall, there's a lot of things here about, overcoming the past, letting things go, letting go of emotional baggage, hang-ups, and things from the past. Even possibly work situations that are no longer working, and so you're shifting to a new environment. Housing situations as well, and I feel strongly relationships, because we end up here as you as the single person. Okay, so I feel that letting go of these emotional holdups, hang-ups from the past, as well as not being on the defensive anymore, not having to contend with people coming back from the past, that's something that's really but in the process of clearing up the clutter from the past, I feel like that's why this massive new wave of energy is coming through for you guys. And I feel like the only way that you could get this, and the only way that, things are really starting to solidify and take shape for this month, is because you have kind of like cut off those cord of attachments to the past, where you're no longer siphoning your energy to it. Your energy is a lot more concentrated, it's a lot more directed, and that's why we have this newfound momentum coming through for this month.